Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to record where I left off. I did record two parts in the Zymios Nova this morning. This is Saturday morning, impromptu. So I did record two parts of this morning, and we were just having all kinds of chat issues. Chat kept getting disconnected, and everybody had to refresh and refresh, and all I was seeing is everybody's having chat issues. So I just decided to go ahead and record this without a chat, and so hopefully this will work. So I'm going to show you the different ways that I store my finished saved pages. Some, like in a book like this that has a complete like fairy tale, I do not tear these out. Or if it's something like Game of Thrones or some kind of color book that has a complete theme to it, where they're not, they're not a standalone piece. But the ones I've taken out here and put in this binder, and then the larger ones, such as my Serene color pages, I cut those out and put them in a big ledger, which I'll show y'all in a minute, because these are way too big to fit in a binder. So anything that's 8.5 by 11 or smaller will fit in a binder. Then I will put them in here. Sip of coffee. I'm losing my throat. This is I've already streamed for 3 or 4 hours this morning. So okay, so these are my Bennett Kleins. This particular Bennett Klein piece here I did record this in multiple and excess detail, and it took about 10 parts. So this is one of those pages that the detail, I really wanted to record every little step and detail in it. So this is one of those that has multiple parts. I try not to have more than 2, sometimes 3 parts in a color book, coloring session, because it's just too many, and then that gets spread out because it's not the only thing I do. We do our collage, our mixed media, our art cards, and other things too. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice here. So that's the first section here are my Bennett Klein ones. So I will probably need to prop this side up just so the glare is not there. And still there. Okay, let's find something bigger to prop up here. And I'll take the ones out of the binder that have, like, for instance, this one has a lot of stickles and glitter on it, and so you can't really see that when they're in the binder. So this is another Bennett Klein. And what I do in most of my color book pages is I do my own backgrounds. So I'll paint in clouds and stars and splatters and whatnot, and to add it to make it your own, because I know it's a lot of work on these pages, and you want to feel like you've put your mark on them. And so doing things like that makes them special to you. And yeah, so again, I'll write on the back, like this has been at Klein's 3, sketchbook 3, and that way I can keep track. Because he's got tons of books. And here's another example of making it your own. These little faces here had like happy faces. I know y'all know the little dots and the big smile. Well, we did this one around Halloween last year, and so I used purple and green and orange, and so I turned them into little pumpkin heads, and just to make them a little bit more like to go with Halloween. So yeah. And then did her orange eyes. And then this one has another one that has a lot of glitter on it. I think you can kind of see through the sleeve there where there's lots of glitter. And I added my own water, my own little glitter rain. And then this one, I really, really like the way this one turned out here. Let me take it out and try to explain some of the little techniques that I used on these. So again, this one's got a lot of glitter. I use stickles, mostly stickles, where you see glitter on my pages. And I painted the background black It wasn't already black. I painted it black, and with painting your backgrounds with acrylic paint, you can add things like this little smoky effect and glows around things, because you're doing pencil on top of paint, and therefore you can do stuff like this. You can't do that on top of, like, if this was colored black pencil, that would not work, as I explained in the video before this one. So yeah, I really like the way she turned out. All that's just with pencil on top of black acrylic paint. And then here's the bear. Again, this was all blank on the page. It was like made for you to just kind of do whatever. So I put him like in a fog, in a big fog bank, if you will. And so yeah, and again, they're mounted on black cardstock with all the information on the back. And this one did take 3 or 4 videos to record this whole process. She did take our vampire, she did take quite a while to do, and because of all the, multiple colors and shading in the back. But I really did like the way her eyes turned out. And then this one, this is another one that has the black painted background. The back painted background where I could add my own stars and planets and shimmery bits and glow and fog and mist and all that. And all this is put on top of black paint. So all the background's painted black, and then all this is added on top with paint and pencil. And then like the smoke coming out of the dragon's nose there, all that's pencil on top of, and paint on top of black acrylic paint. So I really like the way she turned out too. This one, if I'm sure I had mentioned it many times, but Bennett Klein's pages you can buy in a book, or you can buy the PDF and download them and print them yourself. Well, this one I printed out on cardstock, on craft cardstock, and only used black and white. So all the brown that you see in there is the paper itself. And then again, this is all color pencil here. And I think I used a little Posca paint pen right in here on these line details here. But this is just all black and white pencil. So just to show that you can just do, kind of a monochromatic type look. And this one, I used just 2 shades of purple and 2 shades of teal to do all that, with a little bit of white accent in there. But that's all just a couple of colors there. Again, these are all Bennett Klein. Then the panda. I really wanted these flowers to stand out, so what I did was outline them in a Posca. Let's see here. The Posca paint pen, and I'll use this or the Sharpie water-based paint pen, either one. This one's acrylic paint. I'm not sure what the water-based paint is in here, but I can get pretty much the same effect on a color book page with either one. So I outlined all these flowers just to make them kind of really stand out from everything in the background because of the paint in the background. And yeah, little panda. And then this one I called Hedgies and Holbees because I used the Holbein color pencils on this one, and Hedgies. So anyway, and some little white Posca in there. And then I think I either used white Posca or white acrylic paint and put there and just kind of smeared down those little drips on the flowers. So there's that. And this is probably my most recent Bennett Klein one right here. And I wanted all this to look like metal, so I kept it not very much color in it. I almost just pretty much left the color of the wings and just added some gold gel pen onto the animal heads here. And then I did add a shimmer into the wings with some Wink of Stella to make it shimmery. But other than that, I wanted to keep it very, like the diamond here, white and gray. Her hair is, I wanted her to have gray hair, and then all the little hanging jewels and all that. So I really like this. Now the background on this one was already an ombre-like black, gray to white. That was already there. All I did was add the little shooting star on the background there. And then getting into my Doodlers Anonymous. So in the Doodlers Anonymous, I cut the cover off. I eventually want all the pages in the binder or a binder. I don't know if they'll all fit in this one. But, so I just cut the page off here to make it like a divider. Let's got a little flashed out there. Let's kind of get the color there. Might have got my skin's a little dark there, but the color on the color book page is right. And so I cut that out, and I also took off the page, the intro page to the book, and put that in here. So this was my first Doodlers Anonymous page that I did in the book, and I really love this book. One of the reasons I like the Doodlers Anonymous, and I bought it at the bookstore when it came out. I think you can still buy it at their website, but the thing I like about it is there's like 90 different artists. So there's all different artists that contributed to the color book. So it just really makes it different because there's such a variety of artists in it and so many different styles. And so that's one of the things I just love about Doodlers Anonymous. But this was my color book attic page. It might just be better if I just kind of stay down here. And got the little coffee mug. And then I just added my own flow of wind there, like that, with the leaves. And then again, here's another one out of Doodlers Anonymous. This is the astronaut with the cat. And I added my own glow around the edges. And then some of these little checkerboards, I think I added all those myself too. So when you're coloring a book, don't be afraid to, I wrote artist in space in there and did those little checkerboards. Don't be afraid to add your own stuff. And then in a Doodlers Anonymous, every artist has their name on the page. So I made sure to either accent the artist that did it or, make sure that it wasn't covered up. So I wanted the artist that drew the piece to really, their name to be prominent on the piece. So the next one here is a little fox on a bike, and none of the background was here. There was just white background, so I added to make it look like he's either in fog, snow, clouds, whatever. And so that's all paint in the background there. Acrylic paint. When I say paint, I just mean acrylic craft paint. Like, here we go. I just use Deco Art Americana craft paint. It's just craft paint, whatever kind of craft paint, you have. This one I added a bunch of my own touch to. I added the water with paint. Again, just craft paint. I put a glow around her, but I wanted something to look like, why is it glowing there? So I drew in my own lanterns and lights and things around here to make it look like she was in like a little forest. A little glow of a forest. Then the next one here, OCAT is the handle for the owner of Doodlers Anonymous, so I put like a tattoo on our fisherman here. He's got on a blue jean jacket. Maybe I just need to leave it here. Blue jean jacket and a fish beard. And he's got the little crab hanging out. I just love Doodlers Anonymous. Again, I put the name of the artist in a little cloud up there, just so, they have prominence. Let's readjust the light again. It gets dark easy. I don't want it to flash out, but I don't want it to be too dark either. That looks kind of good. So I really like that one. And here's just another random chicken in a shoe. But I love doing this one in these bright colors. And yeah. And then this one I added a lot of paint to it. So all the like Converse shoes, and then all the water is just paint. So just have it kind of dripping down the shoes there. And you see a couple laces in there. And yeah. And then this one's a double page spread. And it's, you know, the sea monster, the old man in the sea, or the sea monster. And again, I did little things like add little flap on his head in the rain with the storm with paint, and added extra little, you know, hairs on the monster. So just have fun with it. You know, I always say you're the boss of your color book, so just add stuff to it. Like this one here, all the mountains and the house and all this stuff here. I just added my own little designs in there, and the vest, and the trees. Just added my own little patterns to it just to give it more interest. And again, there's the artist's name. I put it in a cloud there so that it doesn't get lost. This is one of my favorite pages in the Doodlers Anonymous too. Well, I have said this one's my favorite. I like a lot of them, but I really like the way that I did his satin shirt here with the kind of an ombre effect of the ribbons to make it look like the shine of the ribbons come across here and here and here. And I just love the way, I love this piece that the artist drew, Ashley Cash. And I love the way he's fixing his own little helmet there. That is just awesome. I think I added the antenna, but I just love that one. And then this one we did on a show probably a couple years ago, and it had just the typewriter here. So this is paint in the background, and fibs are friends in the box. Fibs, friends in the box. So all these are stickers, just leftover stickers, making it look like it's coming out of the typewriter on top of the painted background. So I really love the pink typewriter, Underwood. So those are the Doodlers Anonymous that I have done. The next section I have, I think these might be some random ones. This is one off the Sketchy group. And the Sketchy group, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, had a challenge. They posted, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 different color book pages, and everybody could pick one in color. And this is the one that I picked to color off of that group page. This one is out of, I can't remember that. It's on the back. Let me see here. It is out of the Vintage Woman and Flowers by Kyoto Sakura. And so that's a page out of her book. And did her with dark skin. I like doing different colors of skin tone, you know, just to have every kind of skin color. And so I did her dark, and I love the blue sheen to her hair. Really turned out nice. So I really liked her. This one is a mixed media. This, I believe, was out of just one of those pages. Let's see if I have it on the back here. It's out of one of those color books that are, I think it's just all mixed, all kinds of pages. It's just like a Color Your World kind of color book. And so this, I'm thinking that this tree was out of that. But I have a couple in here, this one and the one on the back, that shows that you can take your color book page, add paint and collage, and all kinds. And in the background, I added all my own stars and shooting stars and everything like that, and put the glow in the tree there. So the tree is the only actual thing that came on the page. And I left the branches uncolored. And then on this one, the same kind of thing. There was just some trees here. Whatever else was there, I painted out and painted in my own emu. This is a collage bit down here. So I left these in here to show that, because I do a lot of collage. Y'all know I've got tons of mixed media collage art journals and altered books and all that. But I wanted to show that you can use your color book pages in the same kind of way as you could altering a page, just by adding your own collage, your own drawings, your own whatever you want to add to it. So that's just kind of a random one in here. Then let's see what we have next. Okay, some of these are out of the Creative Haven. Got a couple out of the Creative Haven kimono. This one, and I added another mixed media collage one in between. So this is out of the kimono. What I did with this is I cut her out and mounted her on paper. And these are all hand-drawn little doodles on there. But you can also use your color book images to cut them out and use them like we do in the napkin journal. So we'll have some things colored in a color book, cut them out, and use them as elements in other journals. So this is out of the Creative Haven kimono, as is this page right here. They're out of the same book, but I cut them out and then put them on this. So in that vein of the Asian kimono girl, this is a girl that was in a fashion magazine, and I just put collage elements on. I kind of cut her out and colored her outfit, put some watch parts on her, and then all these, the only thing that was color book on this was the cherry blossoms. Then I painted out the background black, colored in the cherry blossoms. I think I did a mixture of watercolor and a pencil, and then all watch parts inside for the centers of all the flowers have watch parts in them, and then just put her in there and made my own kind of mixed media collage piece. I need a sip of coffee because I'm losing my voice. Okay. Then, and eventually I'll put, tabs and everything on these. All right, so here's my Jasmine Beckett Griffith pages. Both her books. She's coming out with a third one now. You can pre-order it on Amazon. But I have her first book and her Halloween book. So I've got a couple, a few pages from each one in here. And I think this was the very first one I did out of her book. And again, I painted the background black and put a glow around her head with pencil. And yeah. And I do like to, if at all possible, try to kind of keep a color scheme going. Like in this one's like a couple, 2-3 shades of green, and then the pinks and reds for the poppy. And that way it's not like overwhelming with so many colors. Although, like I've said this before, if you're doing a garden or you're doing something that has tons of different flowers, it's, there's times when you want to use thousands of colors. But I like to try to keep it under 5 main colors. And so in this case, it's really just 2 colors. And when I say like the greens, I consider that one color. Just because it's lighter and a darker shade of a green, it's still like that green. So that's like one color, and this is 2 colors. And even though there's a couple different shades of the same green and a couple different shades of the coral and red in there. So then this little girl, she's got a lot of paint in her and painted background with all the stars and moons and stuff like that. Put a little glow around the ship. That was already here, but all the background here is paint and pencil. And then I did her like she was a ghost. So she's like, coming out of the water. So this is like Posca pen, I think, or could have been the star. It's one of these, one of these paint pens, going up her dress here, and then kind of going from the light blue to a darker blue to a darker blue to black. So it looks like she's coming out of the water. Tried to get that effect. And then she's holding the little glowy lantern. And then I tried to connect the oranges across the page to bring in the orange. So really it's just like blue and orange. Then this girl, I think she was out of the Halloween. I think. I have it on the back. It's one of the two Jasmine books. So I made fire around her, and again, she's kind of ghost-like because look at all the skeletons, obviously, and then painted all the eyes in red, and then put my own little planet and stars up there. I tried to make that look like Earth so that she's like not on Earth. And so yeah. And here's one of those places where I did wispy hairs coming across the drawn hair with the white pen. So it looks like there's wisps of hair coming across her face. But I really like the blue face. I really like how that turned out. This one is my pirate girl. And again, you know, Jasmine had I think just a sand here and her. And then I painted in the background here with all the clouds are painted, and then did a little distance rain back in there. So I liked her as a redhead and put little freckles on her. I think you can see, in green eyes. So I'm not really zoomed into, I mean, I kind of want to be able to see the whole page, so it's kind of hard to see some details on these right now, but just want to give an overview. And then here's my mermaid. And the mermaid, let me take her out because she does have glitter on her. So she has stickles on her. There you go, you can see. Again, paint. And I did her with dark hair and put braids in her hair. So again, that's just my version of the hair. I just kind of did her with braids with pencil. And painted in the background, painted in the clouds, and gave her a little glow around her. But there's the stickles. And then this side has stickles. This is out of the Halloween one. And again, painted background and lots of stickles. So her hair, his vest, his belt, her skirt. I kept this to look like velvet. So there's no no stickles or any much shading here or here, because I wanted that to look like velvet. And then put my own glow out of the eyes there with pencil and stickles. Added some lightning bolts, some bats. I don't think the bats, no, none of that was there, so I added that myself too, I think. I'm pretty sure. At least the lightning, I know I did. So yeah. Put a little bit of stickles in her eyes. So there's the Halloween one. And then this one has a lot of stickles on it too, the Cupcake Girl. And take it out here. So you can see that. And did her with blue hair and blue eyes and just a touch of stickles in the eye. Just to make it twinkle just a little. Little spider. And then the last one that I've done of Jasmine's is I call her the Children of the Corn. I added my own corn things coming out of her head. And here's another example of making your own hair. Like I made it like, almost like, you know, electricity, like static electricity. And then this is all paint again to make it look like she's like coming out of one of the pumpkins. A fall harvest. Children of the Corn. So she's purple. Again, did this around Halloween. So did, you know, purple, greens, oranges. Painted the background. So yeah. So those are my Jasmine pages. Then, let's see. Then I just have some, here's bits. Here's different color book bits that I might want to use in something. So I have some, I think I cut out a page or something out of one of the books that had leaves and flowers. And so I've just got a whole bunch of them in here ready to go. So there's that in here. And here's some more of that too, more cutouts to use in napkin journal and when I say the napkin journal, I know most of y'all that are watching this know what I'm talking about, but the napkin journal is an old day book, faux ledger type book that we've taken color book pages, cut them out, and put them on a napkin base. So all the bases are like decorative napkins that are glued down as a background, and then adding color book page elements. Color them before you glue them in, because otherwise you're trying to color on top of texture, and you don't want to do that. So color them, cut them out, and then add them into your, if you're going to do a napkin journal type thing. So here's some of the different ones, and then paint. So like these flowers in the background of the napkin, these are out of color books, and then they're painted in to make them cohesive. And I know it sounds like they're sticking, but they're really not. What is sticking is the texture. The texture of the napkins is making them sound like they're sticking, but they're not really stuck together. It's just the texture of the napkins. I should just go like this and just kind of crack, kind of bend it like that, and it just gets them from being the texture of the napkins. So here's another one where napkins in the background, and then this is all paint on top of it. But this is out of color books. So just so you can see how you can take different color book bits. And this is like one that's nothing on it done yet. Well, here, let me go back to that one with this kind of napkin in it. Where's that one? This one. So this is kind of how this one started. So here's a couple of those iris napkins glued down, and then the color book pages added, and then the paint blended in to make it come together. So let's see here. Do I have a few more in here? Here's one. So again, these are napkins. He's a little color book image, and then paint and stickles added on it to make it a little scene. Let's see if there's any more. This one more. So yeah. So just showing that you can take color book page elements and use them in another way. Okay, so let's see here. Some other different ones that are just partially done. My mom sent me this Beatrix Potter. My mom colored this little page of Mary Englebright. So this is the only page that I have colored out of, and I should have pulled this out. Let's see if I can just pull it right off the shelf. I can put my hand right on it. But it's a color book that is it this one? Yes, out of this book. The classic comic color book. And so they're comic book pages, probably from the 50s, 60s, I'm not sure. Probably different eras, probably mostly 50s, I'd say. And they've turned them into black and white pages to color. So this is the only one that I did in that, and I'm not really actually finished with it. I haven't finished all the little monsters down here, the little aliens, but just so you can see, it's one that I've cut out. Again, these two are out of The Look by Suwa, the Look book by Suwa, and I've cut them out. These were my practice pages with Copics. So they're not even really done. I just wanted to practice using Copics on these. So let's kind of prop that up there so it's not flashed out. So those are just a couple practice ones. I do have pages done in The Look. Let's see if I can find it right off the bat. It is right here somewhere. because I was going to color another page in it, so I know it's here on my table. No, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it right now. Well, here it is. Out of this book. It's called The Look, an Around the World Fashion Book by Suwa. And I do have a few of these pages videoed and colored, and it got flashed out again. Okay, let's... Got a little... There we go. Trying to match the color correctly on the camera with what's on the page, because it does kind of want to go away. So my skin doesn't look the right color, but the pages look right. There we go. Okay. So this is The Look by Suwa. Oh, now I might have got it too dark. It looks the right color though. So I have a few pages done in here. And what this one is Fashions Around the World. And so that it has, like, let's tell you what if it's at the beginning. I thought they were, but maybe not. But anyway, Paris, Milan, here they are, Tokyo, Shanghai, Seoul, New York, Stockholm. So there's different countries, and they have different larger drawings, larger faces, larger scenes. So it's not such, I mean, there are tiny details like in the clothing, but it's not impossible to color. Some pages are really time consuming, as you know. So this one again, painted background, paint, and then she's just colored in with color pencils. Maybe some marker in her shirt. So let's flip through here. And again, this is one of the books that kind of needs to stay together. It needs to stay in the book. And they're also larger. It's probably about a 10 by 10, so it's not going to fit in sleeves anyway. And I think there's about 3 or 4 part video on her. So yeah. So that's The Look by Suwa. Okay, and that's what these came out of. I made a copy of them on cardstock so I could practice my Copic blending on those. All right, then here's a Mary Engelbreit piece with the lettering, doing the ombre shading with the lettering. This one is the only one that I've done out of Adorable Animals, and that is by Madej. Her last name's Madej, and it's the only page I've done out of that, and I did this with watercolor. So this one was out of they're not doing them anymore. I think they did 3 total. Somerset Studio, Stampington and Company did 3 color books, and this is one of the pages out of that. But again, I added my own collage. This is collage bits here. Collage some jewelry bit that I collaged onto her face. And yeah, made her crown out of jewelry bits and watch parts. And stencil. I think and stencils and drips. And both of these are out of the Somerset Studio color books as well. This one they did put in the back of their, in the back of their magazine to show samples of what people were doing. So this one was an issue, I think it was in issue 1, but they showed it in issue 2. And again, it's got all kinds of drips and stuff and clear jars. And then this was another one that I added things to. This was a page that Tim Holtz did for Somerset Studio, and but I added my own die cut gears and a watch face and the watch hands. I added all that myself, but the background here was Tim Holtz's page that he did for that book. These were a couple of different random color books. This one I did all with Crayola crayons. So we just wanted to do a challenge to see what we could do with just Crayola crayons. So that's what this one is done with, just crayons. This one is out of, let me take it out so I can tell you. It's going to be on the back. Gothic, this one's Gothic Special by Selena Finich. And, oh, sorry guys, it got all dark again. Ay, 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 ay. Too light. I'm trying to keep the color as true as I can. So again, it's mounted on black cardstock, and this is done with color pencil or paint and some stickle. I think, no, there's no glitter on that. Yeah, there is. There's some shimmer. So that would have been with, the shimmer would have been done with the Wink of Stella shimmer pen. And then this is all painted background here. And then this one is out of Dreams of Dragons by Ravin Phelan. And this one is all stickled up. So again, I tried to keep it with just a few colors. So I kept the dragon green and blue, and the winged areas pink, and then a kind of a model looking, reptilian looking skin something or other. And then it's got lots of stickles over almost the whole thing. It's shimmered up. Gold in the jewelry of the feathers there. So you can see he's very shimmery. So there's those two. Some are just random pages because, again, not everything fits in these books. I think that might be it. I got some cutout things back here to work on. So those are the pages that I have that fit in a 3-ring binder. And as you can see, it's pretty up till right here. You know, it's full of pages that I've colored that size. Then we have books like, and I think it's pronounced Serene, but I'm not sure. This is the, he goes by Nick Filbert, but it's Nicholas Chandra Inata. And I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. But anyway, these pages are so large. You can see they're so large that they won't actually fit in a binder. So I'm putting anything that's large in this. It's like a faux ledger, well, it's a real ledger, but it's new. You know, it's like made to look vintage. And these, Michaels was selling these by Seven Gypsies. And so I bought one just right now. I mean, it's got faux ledger paper in it. Let me show you if I can get under the camera. It's got like tea-stained ledger paper in it. And I think what I'm going to do with it has 80 pages. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use this book to catalog my art and color books whenever I get that free moment, you know. But anyway, so I think that's what I'm going to do with this book. But in the meantime, I'm putting my larger finished pieces in it. So like this one out of the Serene book. And so there's videos and posts of these all around. That I posted out there. So I just kind of put in between, you know, the pages here. This one I need to finish. She's my Golden Goddess girl. And I need to finish her headdress and her this right here. But I was going for greens and purples in this, or like magenta, like red violet purple. Red violet purple and lime green and all the feathery looking things coming off her. So I've got to do all this little bit here. So I need to finish her. Then again, this one's out of Serene too. I did her with blue hair and lips and eyes. And did her undertone of her skin is all blue as well. So she's very like translucent. And then this is paint. And then the glow around her is pencil. And yeah. I don't like, I mean, I did all the flowers to be consistent because I wanted to keep it like, I didn't want the flowers to be all colors, but I don't really like the way the flowers look. I mean, it's okay, but it's not my favorite, the flowers. I love her face and hair and all the little beads and baubles and her clothing. I love all this, but I just don't love the flower. Maybe it's because it's just so much of the flowers. I don't know. I don't love the way I did the flowers, but then let's see what else do we have here. Now, this is one of my favorites out of Serene. I love this. Again, I went with a periwinkle orange, like a burnt orangey color, and green, and then gold accents through the whole thing. So again, it's kept with just 3 main colors. Oh, wanting to flash out. Let me see if I can move this lamp a little. I think the light's shifted and it's... No, that's too dark. Okay, let's go back. No, that's too flashed. Maybe if I just move it over. Let's see if that helps. No. All right, hang on, guys. Let's readjust the light from the camera here. Just constantly change no matter what I do. I take off all auto changes. I block my light out of my window. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I still have lighting issues. I do my best. Okay, that's better. That's better. My hand is the wrong color, but that's better on her. So I really love the colors, and you can see the gold. There we go. The shimmer of the gold paint. So yeah, there on the clothing there, and then also in her hair and up here. That's gold paint in the gold bits. So again, I'm trying to keep these in the nope. 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 Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah. Okay, what else do I have in here? This is the one that I just colored on I drew on a Saturday for everybody to color. And so I just drew that on a Saturday. This is another one out of Linda Ravenscroft, Fairies and Fairy and Fantasy, I think. And again, she's got lots of shimmer in her hair, but she's just a little oversized. I think the book comes UK size, so it's a little taller than, I think it's 12. So it's just a little too big to fit in my binder. So you can see the shimmer and stuff in her hair. And I really like her. She turned out really nice. So I have one more Linda Ravenscroft one. This one. And again, I put shimmer on her wings. And painted out the sky. Maybe if I zoom in. Nah, if I zoom in, it'll be too. You won't be able to see the whole thing. So yeah, and this one I did like yellow, lime, and lilac. So those are the colors that I stuck, try to stick with just 3 to 5 colors. And it just makes a whole page so cohesive. If you can stick with a minimum of colors, painted the background, added my own stars and little smoky bit coming off of her little time portal. So, and that's all that I have in the ledger book that's oversized, because some of these books are oversized. The only other one that I have that's really big and oversized is this one. And it's by the Russian artist. Don't ask me her name. But Jen, Reading with Pug, sent me this. And I've only colored one page, and the pages are huge. I think they're like 14 by 14. So this is the page I've done in this book. And I will take this out and put it in the ledger as well. But it's got all kinds of stickles and glitter on her face. You can see all kinds of glitter. I painted in the water and then put glitter in the water. I really love this page, and I want to do more in this book soon. But mermaids, underwater, this kind of thing, it just calls for shimmer and glitter, doesn't it? I think that's why, because Jen loves glitter, she knew I'd probably put a lot of glitter. And so she thought, oh, I better send Dee Dee a mermaid book so I can see all that glitter. So you can see. But I think there's a 2-part video on this one, coloring her. So yeah, it's a big book. So there's those. Some of the other ones, and I know I'm just going to kind of review here. This is what I'm working in now that I did earlier today. And it's the Zimya Nova by Tomislav Tomic. And I've been working on this for a few different episodes. And it seems like every time I go to work in this book, I have Ustream issues. It seems like I get disconnected, chat issues. I'm not sure why, but let's see if I can. Oops, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to readjust the lighting. Hang on, it's just wanting to change too many ways. So let me fix this, guys. Hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my gosh. Hang on. I've readjusted it so many times now that I totally lost color and everything. I want to get this right so you can see the true color. Let's see here. Nope. Nope. That's pretty good. Let's see if I need to refocus. There we go. Okay. So it is a kind of dark color pages, lots of dark oranges, black, and I'm still working on the trees, and I think I figured I've got about between 5 and 6 hours into this one so far. So it is a lot of detail. I did work on the little princess today, the deers, the bunnies, so there's a lot that I did work on today and get done. But there's still a lot to go. A lot of the trees still have to be finished, textured and blended. I'm still working on some of the bottom down here. So I've still got, 2-3 hours to go in this one. And that's, in Zimya Snova, I think is how it's pronounced. So I really love this book. I really am enjoying it. And then a few of the pages that I have done. And let me explain how I'm working in these three. Imagimorphia, well, I think Anamorphia was the first one, then Imagimorphia, and then Mythomorphia by Kirby Rozannes, or Rozannes, however you say it. And how I decided to work in these 3 books was to do lots of washes. I think in one of them I did washes in pretty much the whole thing, the second one. Do washes over all the backgrounds and then just continuously work from a little here, a little there. So these pages, although I do have a few that are completed, these are all books and pages that are in progress. So they're not, I don't finish, and I really don't ever finish like one page before I can go on to another one. I just don't work like that. I'll go from page to page, although I try to at least get the ones I film done within a timely manner, a couple of weeks or so, but it doesn't always work that way. So this one, Let me show you what I mean by a wash. And in this particular, these books, the pages are kind of thin, so when you put a wash, especially in a large area, it will wrinkle your page or buckle your pages somewhat. It doesn't bother me that happens, but it does bother a lot of people. So if you don't like any buckling in your pages, I would not recommend using watercolor or acrylic washes, which is just watered down acrylic craft paint, because it will buckle your pages. So you can probably see just a little bit of it there. But I have found that by the time you get done doing the wash on there and all the color pencil front and back, you don't really see hardly any buckling at all, because the nature of the color pencil detailing and shading gets rid of the buckling. Okay, so this is kind of how a wash looks like this. So I have lots of pages in here that are just washed like this. And you can see this one buckled probably more than any of them. And I'm not really quite sure why, because that's really unusual for it to do it that much. But this is just the wash on here with watered down acrylic paint and no shading yet. So, but what this does, especially on something large like this, is it gives you something to work on top of. Rather than coloring this whole thing with pencil, I got this whole wash done in like 1 minute. So I have something now to work on top of and to shade. And so this book is going to have all different kinds of stages because that's how these 3 books roll. This one I showed how you can do stenciling on top of your pages. And then this one's got a lot of places not done. Okay, here's one. This has got a wash here. And you'll see some places here. A lot of these are examples for, people go, how does that work? How's a wash work? So I'll do a wash. This is a finished page. And again, it looks weird, the lighting. Oh. That's too dark. I want the color as true as possible on the page, and it's just really not doing it for me, but okay. So here is a completed page, and again, I stayed with orange and blue. Hang on, guys, I try my best to do my best. So orange and blue were the main colors that I used, and I started with the wash and then went back with color pencil, and you can see the white pencil. White will, your light colors will go over the top of acrylic paint. The background here is dark blue, splattered paint, and yeah, so there's this one. I love the way this one turned out. I got a couple in here that are done. These owls are done. Again, I started with like an indigo Payne's Gray type blue and some oranges and sienna. And you can see all the leaves. And the background is acrylic paint. Acrylic paint on the background. So, this one's in progress. Here's one with just the wash on it. Another one with the wash on it. So this one's done. So I just go through, and sometimes I'll work a little on one and then another. Again, black acrylic paint background. And it does take a while, guys, depending on how much detail you paint around. This one didn't have a lot. That's really not a lot of detail to paint around. And then yellow paint back here. And then washes of lime green and teal, and then go back in there with color pencil. Let's see what else. Let's see if anything else is done in this one. This is one that I kind of keep as is because it's a good example of showing how it looks before you start shade with just, here's some tentacles with just the wash. And then here's with the color pencil. So you see you go from this to this. And then his eye is shaded with color pencil. So it kind of looks like this with just the wash. And then all this deep, this is what I was talking about contrast earlier. You got to have a lot of heavy contrast to make your pages really pop. See, this would be just like if you just colored it like with one shade of something. Now, this is a wash of acrylic paint. But if you just colored this with a yellow ochre pencil, this is what it would look like. Even if you shade it a little bit. This is heavy shading with high contrast. See the difference it makes to add those darks? It just makes all the difference to add those darks. Let's see. I think that's all that really have done in this one. Then Imagimorphia, again, lots of washes. I think this particular book I did on a Saturday maybe a year ago. And what I did is I went through the whole book and did all the washes, some sort of wash on every page. And then some of them have more done than others. Here's an example. I did the wash of light blue on the swans. The background is like heavy. When I say heavy or backgrounds, there's no water. I don't water down the backgrounds. It's pure acrylic paint to give it a flat background. Now there's a couple in here where I've done some other techniques, but for the most part, the backgrounds are just flat acrylic paint with no water. When I say an acrylic wash, I mean that it's a watered down acrylic paint and then shaded on top. And so what I did is after I did a dark blue background here, I went in with my white pencil and started doing like little cloudy looking areas, and of course all my own stars and shooting stars. But all this little glowy bit like that, I think I did this actually with light blue pencil on top of the acrylic paint. And then the fish here only have a wash on them. There's no shading to them, and then you can see a lot of the details. And then what I did here too is I added white acrylic paint feathers. So there's a wash of light blue, shading with dark blue, and then some white flicks of acrylic paint to give it those little individual feathers like that. So I love mixed media. I'm going to mix it up. I'll add paint, I'll add watercolor, I'll add gouache, I'll use pencil, ink tints, Neocolor. I'll add it all. Here's where I'm not done with this one either, but it started with the gold paint, so you can see right there. Now, and I always try to say this, if you do gold paint or any kind of satin or gloss paint, your color pencils are not going to go over that. So all the gold that you see here, I mean, I know you can really heavy hand and get some down, but you're not going to be able to blend, okay? It's the slickness. The slickness of the satin or gloss paint is going to prevent any really nice color pencil blend. Again, you could bear down and probably get something down on there, but it's not going to be any blending. So what you have to do is you have to blend with shades of gold paint. So I have a couple, 2 or 3 shades. I don't remember how many now. This is over a year ago too. Shades of gold paint to do that. The background is blue with some light blue kind of coloring in there. And then I added my own stars and everything. Here's another example. Most of my pages, I gotta say, probably most of my pages are examples because I'm all about sharing the techniques and the ideas far enough along so that you can do it yourself and you don't have to see me color every one of these little creatures before this page gives you ideas. So the background is a solid flat gray, and then I went in here with the white pencil and did all the smoke with a pencil and a glow around all this. Let's see, what else do we have in here? This is a mech moth, and again, I could sit here and color all this for weeks or, hours and hours worth of Ustream time. or video time. And you could see me do every bit of this, and it would maybe take me, 10 episodes. But what I did is I do enough there to show you how I'm going to achieve it. So there's some little mechanical gears that I've done with copper color and shades of blues and things in there. So eventually this will all look like that. But I don't need to do all this for you to see how the idea works. And that's more important to me than for you to see me color every little bit. That to me is more important, that you see that. I always try to post all my finished pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if I finish a page, you'll see it somewhere. But for me, giving you the ideas and the techniques is the most important thing. Let's see. Here's another one with putting glows around the little moths. And again, this is a couple shades of brown and then a color pencil, cream, I don't know what color that is, maybe it's peach color pencil to kind of show a glow. This is what the wash looks like before any color pencil. So you see how you can make it have that watercolor look, even though it's acrylic paint, watered down acrylic paint. You can still get that watercolory look. See, it's not flat. It's got some lighter and darker areas. So now when I go to shade on top of this, it's going to be very much more dramatic than just a flat blue bird, Let's see. Same thing for this sky here. It's got, I painted it with a flat maroon and then went in there on top to make it kind of look like fire with color pencil on top of the maroon paint. You cannot do this pencil on top of pencil. Did I show you all that example again? Maybe I need to show it again. Where is it? What am I doing with it? Where's my little pencil? Well, I just had it here. The pencil on top of pencil and pencil on top of acrylic paint. Oh, well, I don't know. My little sample flew away. But anyway, you just can't go pencil on top of pencil and have it stand out. I could have put white pencil on top of this maroon and it would be pure white. All right, let's see. Here's some other kind of glow around a purple sea, and it looks blue on camera, but that's very purple. Again, the lighting issue. Anyway, but there's a little glow around all the fish swimming. Let's see if I can get it to be blue. Let's see if I can get it to be the true color. Nope, it's wanting to stay purple. That one is just wanting to stay purple. I mean, blue, not purple. For whatever reason. There it goes. There we go. It's a little more purple there. That's better. There we go. So you can see with the lilac going around them, it looks like I wanted the effect of them going through the water and breaking through the water. Let's see what else. Oh, here's the spiders. I just had to show this again earlier today. This is done with silver gel pen first, and then I went over all the spider web with silver stickles. So all the spider webs are really glowy on both sides. This side I did not color in the little creatures so you could get the effect of what it looks, the spider web. And then here it is with the little creatures colored in, but that's all done with stickles. The glitter, let me show you one here. Like these, like just stickles. They're called stickles, and they come in a gazillion colors. But it's like glitter glue, but it's a good quality glitter glue. And they don't stick your pages together when they dry. I think some of the cheaper ones, if you tried to put your pages together like these two, later they'd probably stick together. No, I can't say probably, maybe. I wouldn't want to take a chance. So anyway, I like my stickles. Here's again some more mech moth bug type things with just the washes on them. and the glows around them. So I just wanted, and I always do this every time I show this, I wanted them to look like they're going, you know, like they were kind of like vibrating. That's the effect I was going for here. But then I still have to do all the shading in there. Okay, let's see what else. This one is half done. This shows the wash and then the color pencil. So here's what it looks like with just a wash on this side. And then here's where we've gone in with color pencil, just so you can see the dramatic difference the shading makes. The orange is all shaded, colored pencil. So yeah. Same thing for the water around the shark there. It's colored pencil on top of acrylic paint. See if we got anything else worth showing in here. This one I painted my own tree behind him. And then I'm going to, I can't put this in yet because he has to be done, but I'm going to have a mist of painted foggy mist coming over him. That'll look like this, but I can't do that till I finish coloring this. So I think that's Imagimorphia. And then in Mythomorphia, I've done a couple pages. Again, a nice washed background here that I can go in and color around all the little fish and the bubbles and all that. This is just the intro page here. Same for here, the intro pages. So here's like I started shading around here with color pencil. This is like what it looked like with just a wash. And then here's with the color pencil. It's just, to me, putting a wash of color, whether it's acrylic paint, whether it's a watercolor base, something that just gives you a start. And then, especially if it's water, you don't have to have it, you can have it all watery looking. Okay, this one right here, I did the background consistent on a double page spread, but I'm not sure how I want to color him. I colored the tree nymph, or whatever she is, in 3 colors. I used a mint green, orange, and pink. And I kept it those colors, and white. And so what I did is, after I got it all colored in, I went in and around everything with the white Posca, and then blended it out with a white color pencil to make it really look like there's a white glow. And so I don't really want those colors in him, so I really haven't decided. I might do some of the staff, some of these colors to tie them in together. The background is acrylic paint, color pencil, shading down. And then the little dots are marker, just little marker dots to put in there. And then around each of the little tiny fairies, I just put a glow and, you know, around them with pencil. Let's see. This one has a couple parts to it. And again, I did maybe 2 or 3 parts. I wanted enough done on this to show how to paint mountains with the sunset behind it, because the mountains would be dark and purple, but yet I wanted them to look like they were glowing from behind. And so I wanted to show snow in a sunset. So I did it all in purples. Again, you can see how I did the snow down here. Even though all the little trees are not done, I did enough of the trees to start to show you, like this one right here, where you can see where some of it's kept light, and it still needs more shading back here. But you can see how the sun coming from behind the mountains would hit the trees on this side, and then this side's going to be darker. So I wanted to show the effect of snow in a sunset. So it's all in purples and blues, and also stickles. Again, I would not normally add the stickles and the sparkly bits until I was completely done. And I always try to say that because if you're coloring along or whatever, I always try to say, look, don't put the stickles on till you're completely done, because you might have more shading and things to do, and you can't do that on top of stickles. You can't, there's no going back over those with color pencil once you put the stickles down. But I try to go ahead and advance the process enough so you can see what to do. I don't want to make you wait to see stickles on a page 6 months from now when I might finish this page. I want you to see what it looks like now. And so even though I'm not done with the page, I want you to see the effect you can get with snow-capped mountains and stickles, but I don't want you to have to wait months that it may take me to finish this page. Okay, this werewolf. I love the way this werewolf took, and it was about 3 or 4 part video. One of the parts did not record. It was a Ustream, YouTube, uploading, whatever issue. But there are 2 or 3 parts to this video that are uploaded on YouTube. It took a long time to do this page. And I did do gold and silver shimmer paint. You can see right there the gold paint on his fur, and the moon has got either silver paint or Winkostella, one or the other. And so he's all shimmered up. All these little bats I highlighted with a little bit of Posca, I think it was. And the trees, everything in it. This was very, very time consuming. There's the shimmer in his fur. And then we had him have bloody footsteps and coming off his claws. And, of course, he's a werewolf. His teeth are, I did go back over the teeth with Posca, white Posca. All the trees, I've shown this technique of using white Posca over the top and then shading it back so that it still has lots of highlights. So, again, you know, hours and hours of work that you don't really, that's why I don't do speeded up videos. Well, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. I don't mind watching a speeded up video, whether it's a painting, a coloring, whatever kind of process video it is. I don't mind watching speed up video if the person that did it would tell you how long it actually took. And I've had lots of people tell me that. I thought that you could really color this in a couple of hours or something. You know, they don't, because they watch speeded up videos. So you watch these speeded up videos and it's like 10 minutes at the most, you know, and you got a completed page and they go, wow, I'm going to color. I can get a lot done in 10, you know, well, I know people don't really think it's actually just 10 minutes, but they may not realize it's 2 or 3 days or 10 or 12 hours because it's all speeded up. So, yeah. What else do I have in this one? This one's done, and it's like the Chinese dragon. Again, it's a little flashy, but anyway, so I kept this one in greens with variations of yellowy green, blue, and red. So everything is pretty much those colors, even though they're different shades of those colors. This took a long time because not only did I put all the base coat, you know, wash on the dragons, then I went back in with my Posca and did every single scale. Every one of this, all that light bits you see, that's all done with Posca pen around each one of those and then knocked back with pencil. So in other words, I took a Posca and I went around every single scale. And then when it dries, you got to make sure it's dry. When it's dry, then I took, I don't have a light green here. Then I took my green and went over it and knocked back so it's not bright white. But that was a lot of work in here. And then after that, I wanted it to look like it was in a smoky fog. So I took acrylic paint and a baby wipe and I always put it in my hand because it kind of mashes the paint into the baby wipe, and I can see how much is going into the baby wipe. And then I took the baby wipe and blended right on top of my completely finished page. I took paint and smeared it all over. You gotta be brave. You gotta be brave to do that. But, you know, you're the boss of your color book. So then I smeared the white paint all across it to look like it was, you know, some foggy, misty stuff going through there. I think that's all in this one. So those are the Kirby Roseanne's Mythomorphia, Imagomorphia, and Anamorphia. So there's those three that I work in these, you know, off and on. This is the one I'm working in right now, the Zimiosnova. All right, so let's see what else I'm working in. So Fantasia, who is also the same artist that did Serene. This book came out, I think this one was published first in Indonesia, but this one was came out in America. So this one was easily had. You can still buy this one, I think, fairly easily. I haven't checked recently, but last I heard, this one you can get off of Amazon fairly easily. This one is no longer in print. I don't even know if you can get this one anymore. But if you like him, Fantasia has his beautiful, you know, girls and faces. The paper is not the same quality. It's thinner paper. The ink is very black in this one. I'm not sure what kind of process. It's shiny, though. You can see that. But it is very black. A lot of times in printed color books, the black is like a dark gray. It's not really black. This is really black. So it's very, but it is shiny. Here's one I'm working on here. I think and then I did this mermaid here, and she's very stickled up again. She's all shimmery. Do those mermaids all shimmered up. And everybody's asking me to do the Medusa one too. But if you like doing his kind of faces, it's not the same detail to me as Serene, but it's, you know, it's still his nice artwork, as you can see here. Okay, so I'm not going to flip through the books. I'm just going to show you the things that I've colored in them. So there's that. Let's see, what's next do I want to look at? And there's so many that I've got little bits colored in, so I don't know how many we'll get through, but we'll try a few at least. Where is my, what do I do with it? This one. I think I should pull out my Hannah Carlzon and my Clara Markova. Here we go. Okay, well, let's do this one. This is also one that I've been working in. This is the Hannah Carlzon. This is the Swedish version. It's Seasons. It's now out in blue cover in English. This was the Swedish version, and I have done a little bit of work in here. Let's see. I'm working on these cats. There's a recent, like last week, or Monday maybe, I worked on these cats, showing how I do fur on the cats there. So just the cats are done, but you can see that. And I think I have one or two others done. This double page spread, there's videos for, maybe two. And again, it's got lots of shimmery bits on there with the, you know, ornaments, and silver gel pen for the chains and the details. So what I did is I used the same colors and the ornaments as in her headdress. And so kind of tied it together. Then she has the blue face and the blue lantern. And then all the little candles that come through here kind of tie it all together. And then I added my own little blue planets or little glows or little stars to tie it all in. And they're shimmered too, so you can see. I really love the way her face did. And of course, everybody says, oh, Avatar. You know, I wasn't really thinking of that at the time, but, you know, after, and then I have one more in here that I'm working on. Where is it? It's this way. There's one more I'm working on. And where is she? She's right in here somewhere. I can't, there. So this one I'm working on. And she's got blue star skin. And I just started on her clothing there. So that's as far. So that's Seasons by Hannah Carlson. It's a blue book. It's blue now, the English version. Then here's Clara Markova. And this translates to magical delight. I think I try to get as close to, and different people say, oh, no, it's not magical delight, it's magical dream, or it's, Anyway, I do my best to get those translations. But this was, I think, the closest that we came to the translation of this one. And I do have a few things done in this one, including this double page spread. And I'm trying not to paint the backgrounds in this book. It has all these little pollen spores. I guess they're mushroom spores that are throughout the book. So I'm trying not to paint the backgrounds. Can't promise I won't, but I'm trying not to paint the backgrounds. So this book also has in the back some cutouts. It has some little cutouts here, and these are two of them. And they're little doors. And you cut them out. And of course, I had to color the inside. There was nothing on the inside. I draw my own wood. But cut them out and have little tabs. And so they're little tabbed doors. And in the little bird houses. And then all that's, you got to color that in there. And I did paint the background black inside there, like it's a little night sky. And then the same for this one. I painted or put some little glow coming out there, like that. And I really love these colors. I'm trying to keep this particular book nice and bright and vibrant. If y'all see me in my collage work and everything, I love doing dark, like a lot of black, dark indigo blue, siennas and yellow ochres and all that. On this, I'm trying to keep it very shiny, very vibrant. So here's the front cover. I do have this much done. I got a little bit more work to do here and here, but you can see again, I'm trying to keep it very bright. Keep this book very bright. Then we did a page recently here, this one. And I did most of it. I did most of it on film. I did video most of this, but I went back and did a few things like the moss. So all the moss you see here, I added that after the fact. But here's the finished page of the little mouse. And this again, I think I did this one last week. And on the moss, all I use is again, I'm all about sharing everything I do with y'all. Just a Sharpie pen, not a marker, Sharpie pen, like this, Sharpie pen. And all I do is little squiggles. And like, let's go maybe right here. And I do little like squiggly bits and then carry it down like that, and then some dots. And it makes it look like Spanish moss. And you can make it heavier if you want. I wanted to kind of keep it kind of just light and airy. So I think that's all I've done in this book. Again, loving that. Okay, I got to move some books to get to some books here. Let's see. Let me shuffle some things around. Because I want to get to the other Hannah Carlson. Okay. So the other Hannah Carlson ones that are out there are Summer Nights, Magical Dawn, and Daydreams. And I've done a couple pages in some of these here too. And her style's very distinctive. You see her style's very, very her. Okay, so this little cat that I'm not quite done with. I should have just finished this one when someone asked me about doing a cat. This one's got the washes on it, but other than this globe, this bit right here is done because I wanted to show how to do the glow around the little nighttime bluebells, shooting stars and all, but none of this down here is done except for a wash. It's just got a wash. Oh, these little mushrooms are shaded. But all this still needs to be shaded. Okay, I think I got one or two more in here. This little rabbit is done. And again, stickles, twinkles. So yeah, a little bit of twinkle up in the stars there. And then that's black painted background with acrylic paint. And then a little bit of purple shimmer, a little purple color pencil to make it look like a little purple up there. You see that? This one has a little red around it. And then again, all the stickles. And yeah, this one I think has a 1 or 2 part video. These are in process. This is not done. This was just to show a blue background, I think. I can't remember why we were doing that. And there's something else partially done here. Oh, then I was partially coloring in these little mushrooms and frog. So that's in Daydreams. Magical Dawn. What do I have done in here? And there's flips of these all over the YouTube. Don't know if I did, what did I do in this one? Have I done anything in Magical Dawn? Maybe I haven't done anything in Magical Dawn. And then Summer Nights. Okay, so I've done this page in Summer Nights. Now, this little girl reminded me of my daughter Denise when she was about 8, 10 years old. So I put glasses on her because Denise had glasses when she was littler. She, of course, started getting contacts as a teen and has had contacts since. But she always wore glasses. And this little girl just reminded me of her. So I did brown hair and all, again, you can see all the stickles on the clothing. And then the 2 little cats. We've always had cats. And so yeah, so that one's done there. Let's see, do I have something else? I thought I had something else started in this one, but I could be wrong. I know that one was the main one that I had finished in here. So yeah, there's those. I'm looking here. Some only have like 1 page done in them, so I'm trying to kind of stick with ones that have quite a bit done. Okay, this is Minuet de Bonheur. I know I can't say it, guys. Anyway, I think it's called Dance of Happiness. I try to keep a translation in here. So in this one, I have a couple done. Are Bricks and Bunnies. This one is, there's a couple of videos for this one. And again, painted the background. I love painting my backgrounds and putting stars and things. But we also, like the water here, we added, I say we because I did this with live audience. And everybody here with me, right? So, water coming out of the spout and water dripping off of the little bird bath there. And so we did all different kinds of colors of bunnies just to show different colors of fur. A gray one, a white one, a black one, and a brown one. So did all different colors of fur on this one. And you can see again how the edges matter. See how the edge of that bunny has just a tiny bit of light blue? And that gives it a, like, they don't get lost. It won't get lost in the background. And then some mossy pots and the bricks and all that. So what else is in this one? Then the little owls. Now this one I did not put any stars. I left the background just flat black. but the owls and bluebirds, and I did them real fluffy with white Posca extra, leaving it white to make them look extra fluffy there. And then lots of berries, and there's another little one up there, little bird, and then the fluffy little owls, and then the little squirrels, and then the leaves getting ready to turn to fall from green to orange. So really, really like that. This one, there's a video for this. Flat blue background, and some colors will take a couple of coats. So if you don't feel like going around everything a couple of times, and pick a color that you know is not going to be like red, lime green, certain blues. They're translucent, and so they're going to take a couple coats. Black usually doesn't, as long as you don't water it down. That is the key in a background, acrylic paint background. No water. I mean, even try to keep your brushes dry. I mean, I always get my brush wet before I start using them so that the paint doesn't crust up in them. But try to get as much water out of them as you can, because the water is what's going to make it not flat. And then we did a little gray bunny with a blue eye and a brown bunny with a brown eye. And then see all the shimmer in there? That's with a gold gel pen on the little chains and everything there. And on the little chains and stuff over here, you can see the gold paint or gold gel pen. These little koi fish, again, it's just got some water swirly things going across it. That took not too long, but I don't know. I don't love it. Let's see. I think that's all in here. I think I started one other one. Yeah, I started coloring his little. I started coloring his little striped shirt, and I colored these checkerboards. Here's an example of the black in a color book not being black. See how it's gray looking? Here's where I colored it with a marker, or I probably used one of my black markers in the water-based Crayola Super Tips, and then to get right into the points, probably my Sharpie pen. But look at the difference in the blacks. See how that's kind of a brownish gray black that came printed that way, and then there's a black. So even though that is already done for you, when I go to color this, I will go over all that black. It's not done enough. It's not black enough for me. I want it to look like this. So I don't know if I've not tried to go over this with my black. Let me see if I can find my black. I was just using it. Here, let's see if this one works. Just the black Super Tip. Let's see what happens here. Yeah. So just coloring right over the top of this black. Let's take my time now. I don't want to mess, get it all cattywampus. And as long as you don't rub, as long as the paper's not so thin, I mean, although I don't think I've ever had these markers go through anything, but because they're just water-based. They're not alcohol. You cannot do this with alcohol markers. Alcohol markers will go through everything. Copics and Sharpies and all that. Especially any Copics or Hoo Hoo Heroes or anything like that. Okay, so there you go. So you can see the difference in the way it comes and the way with black on top of it. And again, here it is over here. So, but that's just the way they come. Now, make sure that's not dry. I don't want to close the book on that. Let me get a piece of deli paper or something to put in between so that doesn't get on this page over here when I close it. I think that's all I got done in this book. And I believe there's a second, a volume 2 of this Dance of Happiness. I think there's another second book that they came out with. And I think it's Korean. So, love this book, though. I love this one, too. Okay, so let's see what else. Color Me Enchanted. This is another one of the, my mom even said, oh, I love that book, I ordered it. So she got this one. Coloring Book of Fairy Tales from Around the World, Masha Dion's and Gayla Lazuli. And I love this book and how I'm working in this one a little differently too. What I'll do with this is I will take, for instance, let me just grab a yellow because I think I've already done a bunch of yellow in this one. I will take one marker and go sit and watch TV or something, if I'm going to sit and watch TV. And I will take, actually I think I might want light blue on that. I will go with yellow. And I'll just go through the whole book, sitting in my lap with one or two markers. And everything in the book that I want that color, I'll just work on, you know, like this, all these little flowers here. I'm going to want them all yellow. Now this, you can go always add shading later. But instead of doing any kind of washes in this book, again, just make sure, like I'm coloring this with these water-based markers, just don't, you know, bear down 5 ways to Sunday and go through the page. Because you can do it. You know, you can make it go through if you keep, you know, adding more and more water, you know, because these are not watercolor markers. They're just water-based. Okay, so for instance, I would sit there and, oh, and maybe the one in her hair here. So I would do the yellow, and I'd kind of go through and find anything on the page that I might want yellow. It's not like you can't ever go back and do more. But all right, so I did all those little yellow flowers. And then over here on this page, I'll probably want to do this one. And maybe this one too, because they look similar to the one going around. All right, so I found all the things I want yellow. Then what I would do is I would just flip to the next page. Do I want anything on yellow? I don't feel like doing that page right now. You see, so I can just flip through and then go find anything I want yellow. I think I'll have this flower yellow. The little weeds, they're yellow. Okay, that may be all I want right now, yellow. And I'll go to the next page. So I just go through it, like here's the page where I went with teals. Now this does have shading on it too, but I started with like a mint green marker. Like, I think it was this color here. Started with this and went and found all these colors that I might want. Then I went back and shaded with pencil. So this one has a combination of pencil and marker. But I just go through and I'll have a color with me and pick things out that I want those colors. Like here's yellow. So I had my yellow marker and all this right here is that I wanted yellow. Here's some oranges. So I started with the orange marker. Now I have gone back and shaded on these. These little seed pods, I have not gone back and shaded yet. But I started with a base of orange, so I probably just had an orange marker in my hand and went through and found things that were orange. Here's some yellow and orange and some blue. So you can see this book right here is just going to be, again, a work in progress as I feel like picking something up. Here I just have some blue, little ribbon, yellow, let's see, I missed something. Some yellow lemon. This one's not done. This one has a black painted background that I put the black acrylic paint on. And with markers, some of this is marker, and then I took the color pencil and put the glow, and then white stars, and so did the Sacred Heart like this, and they still have all the symbology for the Sacred Heart and all that to still fill in. Here's where I started a cactus with some green. Some bugs that I just started coloring in some of the bugs. So I love this book though. It's just so fanciful, and I just really, really like it. and I'm enjoying just coloring little bits at a time. Oh, here, was it here? Yeah, here is where, this was the first page I started coloring in this book, and I used one of my markers, the olive one, and I think I was just not paying attention and not remembering. You can't just keep color, so I was just coloring, and I was like really getting into the details and just color, and I went, oh, I bet I've over-colored that to the point that it's saturated through the back. Because, I mean, I worked on, maybe that little M, I probably worked on that for like 5 full minutes, going over and over. And you can go over things as long as it's dry, whether it's watercolor, whatever. You can put another layer, but you got to let it dry. I didn't let this dry. I was just coloring, kind of went, uh-oh. And sure enough, that is one of the very few times I have ever gone through. And it really didn't go through, it ghosted. But you see it right there? And I was like, oh, man. gotta pay attention to that. So anyway, can't oversaturate. Here's a girl, I did her lips and all the little roses red. There's a whole bunch of little roses on her outfit, and or some kind of flower, and floating around, so I did them all red. And that's all I done that page. This one, again, all the red, just added all the red. And I haven't shaded yet, so I need to get in there and shade all that. Here's some pink flowers and a little pink quilt thing. Sleeping Beauty or some, yeah, there's an apple, she took a bite out, Sleeping Beauty. So I'm doing all these little pink roses, and then I went in here with white pencil and started shading. See, your pencil will go on top of markers, they'll go on top of watercolor, they'll go on top of everything but other color pencils. As far as on top of. You know, layering is one, shading and blending, you of course can do with pencils. But going on top of something else, like if that was just, if that was pink, a solid pink pencil flower, I could not go on top of it and get that pretty white on top. So just to show you an example there. And so anyway, that is Color Me Enchanted. A coloring book of fairy tales from around the world. Love this book. And I love doing how I'm doing it. Let's see. Let me pick a few more. Let me give this recommendation because we're talking about color pencil. This, and where's my eyes? Is it up here? Yeah, here it is. So the only thing I've done in this is what I'm getting ready to show you that we did. I really should do another example out of this. It's the Colorist Special Effects by Helen Elliston. And it gives you all kinds of different ways to color and shade with color pencil. All kinds of tips and, you know, just all kinds of, like here, crystals, for instance. How to do color pencil crystals and bugs and shimmers and just everything, a little bit of everything in here. So what I did is we took her step by step here, and I did this, there's a recording for this, and I just drew my own eye. I didn't trace hers or anything, I just freehanded an eye similar to her shape here, and then we did her step by step to see how well we could follow. I say we because there was a live chat and talking to people, and followed all these steps, step by step, through the whole thing until we got that. So, including the tear, which that's, I think, the next page. Yeah. So, we followed her step by step as close as we could, even though I drew my own shaped eye. It's a little bit different, but it's close enough. And followed it, all her steps, to see if we could, as close as we could get it. And I mean, you know, I think it turned out really nice. And so that's the only thing I've done out of this book. But I really would like to do some more out of it just because I think it's helpful. It's helpful to those that have never really used color pencil much. And so yeah, Colorist Special Effects, Helen Elliston. Then this book, Intricate Ink by Tim Jeffs. This book, I got at Hobby Lobby on the clearance aisle for $6 and some change. I know that he's got a second one out now. He's got Intricate Ink and Animals #2 or something like that. You can find them on Amazon. And what I wanted to do with these, which I did do, is see if I could just do watercolor, mostly watercolor. Maybe a little bit of shading in there, but I think it's just mostly watercolor. Although this one I added gold gel pen to the little spines on him and added my own moon. You see how the background is not flat black? Again, I could paint that in if I really wanted it flat black. These books have a little bit of a water resist type sheen to them. But it kind of made it kind of interesting because when I did the watercolor, it didn't soak in right away. It didn't quite bead up, but almost on the verge of beading up, which gave you time to kind of drag the paint around without it soaking right in. Because most of the time, if you use watercolor on your color book pages, it just soaks right in immediately. But this kind of floated for just a minute. So I think that actually helped give us a more of a watercolory blend. So I've done a few pages in here, and they are posted on. But look, it did wrinkle the back. So if this was a double page, like if this bear was here, that would wrinkle the bear. It never really bothers me to have a little bit of buckle, but again, you got to know what your mediums are going to do to your paper. These are posted on Twitter, at least on Twitter, maybe Instagram and Facebook as well. This one we did with Copic markers, Copics and Hoo-Hoo, alcohol-based markers. So this one was mostly done with alcohol-based markers. Again, this is what happens when you use alcohol-based markers. So of course I had a paper here to catch any excess ink so it didn't get on this page. But I'm trying to do more practice with alcohol markers. So there's that one. Here's a purple and magenta octopus. And I did this, I did do this with the watercolors, but I did go back with pencil and put that little bit of glow on there. And then the white is with, I believe, Posca, and then knocked back with pencil. So, but it's got the wash on it. Here's a rhino that's done in siennas and purple. Again, I don't even think I added any pencil to this. I think it's all just washes of watercolor. Seahorse in Payne's Gray and Orange. Again, I know there's a shine from my light on the black paper because it has a sheen to it. The sea turtle. Again, watercolor. And the stars are just put in there with the gel pen. What else? Do we have anything else in this one? Oh yes, our unibrow Gene. Zebra. And he's just done with the magenta watercolor and a gold shimmery horn. It was a zebra with no horn. We added the horn ourselves to make it a zebra and a unicorn is a unibrow. Anyway, so yeah, and I think that's all. So again, Intricate Animals, and yeah, Tim Jeffs, and his second volume is out. Let's see what else. I'm not going to show you every single book because we just don't have time, but here's Moon Blossoms, Katrina Palin. And it's a kind of it's oversized in the sense that I think it's like maybe 9.5. I don't know. It's too big for a sleeve. Otherwise, I will probably be taking these out and putting them in my ledger. So I'll show you the ones I've got done in here, and I have taken them out. I didn't use marker on this one. Anyway, so here's some of the ones, and it's thin paper. This is very thin thin, thin paper. And it's almost got a sheen to it. But I really like the way this one turned out. So I have a few done out of this book. This one I did in neons. Never used neons, but I used neons on this one. This one has stickles to differentiate between the border where she is and the floral border. So I did stickles around the edge of the border there, so you can see. So there's this one. Lots of glitter and sheen on the inside there. And I think that's all I have done is those 3 pages in here. I'm pretty sure I'm not working on anything, but I need to get back to this one because I really do like this book. Oh, I like them all, and every one of them has something I like about them. Let's see. And I already showed you, this is the Linda Ravenscroft one where I showed you the 2 that are in the inside the ledger because they're oversized. So I have colored the 2 out of this book. Mouse Guard. I've colored a few in Mouse Guard, and let me show you some, like even colored the little Celtic knot at the beginning, and a couple here, and these are posted on Instagram and my Facebook page too. So here's some of the Mouse Guard. This one's still in progress. It's just got the wash on it. And I think I was using the Luminance pencils in this book. It might have been the Holbees, I don't remember. And this one. And I did put some stickles on the sword, and the red is, I don't know if you can see the red. It's got jewel-like stickles in it, and the sword has got shimmer on it. So there's this one. And the whiskers are, and the hairs are white Posca. And I think that's all in that one. Mysterious Planets. It's a fairy tale type book. It's a Japanese book or Japanese artist. And I am working on this double page spread. And I was working with these with, I think the Holbees. I was using Holbees on this one. And I was trying to keep it kind of vibrant and pastel-y, like a party. So I haven't got too far on it, but it's getting there. But I wanted this to kind of be kind of vibrant pastel colors, like a birthday party. And I think that's all I got done in this one. And that's Mysterious Planets by Ai Kono. What else do we have here? A Walk in Eden. Laura sent me this one, A Walk in Eden. A coloring book by Anders Nilsson. And I've done a couple things in here. This one is like a page, these pages kind of continue, like, not exactly, but sorta. They kind of end here and then they go over. Like, see, here's his head, right, there's a bird right there. See how he kind of continues right there, even though it doesn't like literally match up. But the whole book kind of continues from page to page. So here's my camo tree scene. And again, I kept like reds, grays, and greens. And pretty much did the whole page in red, in kind of a maroony red with a little bit of like pink, like white on top of it in the flowers, a couple shades of green, and then grayish, bluish gray for the ducks and the camo tree. And then added our own moss hanging out of the tree. So yeah, really enjoy this. Again, I enjoy them all. There's just so many hours in the day, right? I have a couple things colored in here. And it's just very surrealistic. It's very, it's just a very surrealistic type art, which I love. I love that. I love that look, and I think that's why Laura thought I would love it, and I do. One of the, oh, here it is. This is the one. Has a double page in the middle where it folds out, flaps out on both sides. So, yeah. See, look at this. See, very, it's kind of like surreal and nature, close, like macro photography mixed. So did this cactus. This, you know, surrealistic chandelier, and again, with just orange and blue. Is that all? I think that's all in this one. So, Walk in Eden. Pop manga. And I still see this in the bookstores. You can still buy this one. Well, I'm sure you can still buy a lot of them, but I still actually see this one in the bookstore still. And it's by Camelia de Arengo. I'm sure I butchered that name, but anyway. And it's all like manga, but it's like surrealistic pop manga. And I really love this book too. So there's quite a few pages I've colored. But again, this is one that could be cut out and put in my binder if I colored both sides, because it is a double-sided book. I'm just leaving them all in here. So again, painted background, painted my own nebulization, as I call it, in the background space, stars, a glow around her. Yeah. And blue eyes with an octopus around her neck. I mean, I love all of them. I think there's one in here where I did it in Inktense that I didn't really care for, but I love all the narwhals. This has a lot of narwhals, and what's that called? It starts with an O. I know one of y'all would tell me, but you know, these kind of salamander type creatures. And then here's a narwhal, a mermaid on a narwhal. Again, I painted out the background black. I put all the little glow around, you know, little things around her head. Painted the water. And so, yeah. Little narwhal mermaid. I love this page. Here's my girl in a tree. Her hair turns into her head. Well, she actually turns into a tree head. Tree head. And I outlined all the edges with the white Posca just to make it kind of stand out. And then she gave her green eyes. I think we did this at Halloween too, and that's why we went with these colors. Seems like anything we do with Halloween, we do purple, lime, and orange. But anyway, I did blend the colors into her forehead to really make it look like it was really growing out of her head. And then this is the one I did with Inktense. And I just do not like the background. I tried my best to blend out, because Inktense, when you start watering, it dries kind of quick. And of course, that's going to have to do with the paper you're working on too. But I did not like the way that it didn't fade, it didn't ombre enough for me. But I did do this whole page in Inktense. But the background, I wasn't happy. It didn't ombre out and feather out enough for me. But otherwise, she turned out pretty good. She did, and her eyes and everything. That's all done with Inktense, which is the water-soluble pencils, Derwent, and it's ink. So once it's dry, once you dissolve it, it acts more like ink than watercolor pencil. And once it's dissolved completely, then it's permanent. And I think that's it in here. Oh, no, one more tree girl. So this one I wanted to do like, you can see the going up to the green this way, and then also it comes up this way. So it's kind of like, can blend either way. And I did everything in this with sienna and green. And her eyes are green there too. Freckles, love freckles on my gingers. Time to do a ginger girl. So that's Pop Manga. Let's see, what else? The Mysterious Library. And again, it's a fairy tale type book. Oh, this is another one I'm doing like the magic, the one where I'm going, mysterious, is it Mysterious Places? No, where is it? Like Color Me Enchanted. I'm doing the same kind of thing in this, where I'm just taking my water-based markers and just keeping it in handy and just going through and coloring areas with marker to go back later and shade. I'm doing the same thing in this book. So like I got all these pink, this is a whale here, and what I'm going to try to do with this is look like a pink coral undersea type thing. So I just went in with the coral color and did all these trees, not shaded yet, it's just a base, of marker. And so I kind of just went through this book as well, and I'm kind of doing it that way. This one, though, is finished. I did leave a lot of white space on purpose, including the sky, the clouds, a lot of the stonework here. I left it white on purpose so that she stands out. So we did her in, everything is in teal and rust color, shades of. So I left a lot of white in the background to make her stand out. We did add knitting needles in her hair because her hair looks so much like yarn that I stuck, I think it was Eileen's idea, so I drew some knitting needles into her hair to make it look like her hair is all yarn. So yeah, that one's done. What else have we done in here? Again, just started coloring different parts. Lots of little green bits and orange and yellow flowers with just the markers. Some cactus. This one, I swear we'd get back to this one. I just completely forgot. We started doing the Snow Queen, and it's just got a wash on all the trees at this point, and all the fir and different types of trees. It's just got a wash on it. And we did start coloring her in. Did the little snow globe with reflective colors on the globe. Her hand colors coming through here. The purple is showing through here. The green of her felt type jackets coming through here. But we never got back to this. I feel bad for you, Snow Queen. Not really, but I try to get And then this one started doing all the, colored all the card colors of the, Queen of Hearts and all the different colors. And that's again with marker. Everything's in red and black marker. That was just a sit and doodle. So all the red and black is colored in. So that's a Mysterious Library. What else? And of course I have all my Bennett Klein books, but they, again, I showed you all the pages I have. They're torn out. What else do I have here to share? All right, let me move this stack. over here. Let me shift some things around. Okay. I don't know the translation. Let's see if I have it written in here. No. This is the Karolina Kubikowska, and she has a new one out now. The Twilight. I don't know. It's got a girl on the cover. I don't remember. Anyway, she has a second book out now. I really like this book. I've done a lot of like watercolor parts in it. And everybody likes this book. Some of it's got, may even have a little bit of ink tints. I don't remember. But it's got all kinds of washes. And her pages are very heavily black, like here. See how dark the pages are? And they do fall out. Let me just say that. This book, the glue of this book, and other people have said too that their pages started falling out. It's okay with me. I mean, you see, I take them out of the pages, out of the books half the time anyway. But look at how dark everything, the heavy inking is, which makes it kind of cool when you go to color on it. That dark still comes through. So I mean, I like it. And I've done quite a few bits in it. And then this is already, came like that. All this was already colored for you like that. So a couple pages. This is like the way it looks. And I can't read the translation, but. So you can see I've done different bits in this one. I really would like to get back to this because I really like this book. But we move from book to book. I think some of this might have been done. No, I don't remember. Anyway, I've worked on this two or three times. It's not done, but I've kind of carried the blue around to make it look watercolory like. These have washes on them again, not really shaded, just washes. A lot of them are like that. They may look like they're shaded more in some, like these. They really look like there's a lot of shading, but that's because of the heavy black ink that she has on there. These are done. I did these on a video when I first, this is probably a couple years ago. I think this is the first double page I did in this book, actually. But all the splatters are already there for you. This one's done. Again, it came out. Some of the pages came out. Yeah. Let's see here. I think this is the one I did in ink tints, actually. This little, and I started going across here with the leaves, but that's as far as I got right there. I think that's all. Yeah. So that is Karolina Kubikowska. And again, she has a Twilight something, I think is what it's called. Look on Laura, Art, Anxiety, Adventures, Laura. She has the second one. Let's see. Okay. And I have these two, Rainforest Escape and Island Escape. I colored a lot in this one and gave it away. So I bought another copy and started recoloring in Rainforest Escape. But I've only done a couple of things, and now I probably won't even be able to find them. These have watercolor type paper to them and a lot of fold out pages. And they're perforated, which that can be a good thing. But in this case, if you get that perforation wet, it's going to cause your pages to fall out. But I thought I had one or... Here we go. So this one... just have a couple done in here. So, yeah. But those are fun if you like to do a lot of watercolor. And they're by Jade Gedeon. And I think she has two others out. She has a New Orleans Carnival one. She has a couple of them out. And they're on cream color paper. So those are kind of nice. All right, let's see what I got over on this side. I bought myself a few color books at my birthday with an Amazon gift card, this being one of them, Chibi Girls, Jade Summer. I have not colored anything in this yet. The backs are black. Not that that matters, but I guess if you color in markers, that's supposed to, like, so you don't have a look of bleed through. I mean, it's probably still going to bleed through. But this one I did get to try to practice some alcohol-based markers and haven't done that. Gothic Special, I'm not sure if, who sent this? Was Tammy sent this to me? But anyway, it's got a lot of Gothic girls in it. And did I do one? I think I did have one of these. I showed it to y'all. It was in my book, I think. Same thing for Myth and Magic. I think I bought this one when I bought this one. And I don't think I colored anything in this one yet. Let's see. Did I buy this? Let's see. Where is the... So it's got lots of very, very detailed mermaids and fairies, but they're very tiny and very detailed. Very, very tiny. So that's Myth and Magic, Birds and Flowers. Maybe this is the one Tammy sent me. Let me see if I have her name in the back. I try to keep, you know, or maybe this is just one I bought. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's birds. No, I think Orla might have sent this one to me. And yeah, I think so. It's got all kinds of birds. And this one is one that's good, I think, for cutting out the birds and owls and flowers and putting them in your napkin journal or color book, art journaling combination pages. Birds and Flowers. Manic Botanic. This is the one I got myself at my birthday. I've only done one. And did I tear it out of here? Again, this is very heavily detailed. And I really love this book. I know a lot of people go, I don't like that book. I love this book. But I just, you know, we got so many books. And again, it's heavy. It's like a wood cut. It looks like a wood block. Wood block cut, you know, wood cut block type. So I love that. I love that extra dark black outline on some things, you know, certain books. But I really do like it. It's a kind of a cross between a wood block and a stained glass window. So I really do like that. I think I colored one in there. So I showed you the books. Well, I showed you come on, don't fall over here. The Adorable Animals, where I colored that frog out of that one. And then the Dreams of Dragon, you saw that I colored that one dragon out of here. Ravinia Felon, I'm not sure. But anyway, it kind of reminds me of the Jasmine books, which these are what hers look like. Again, I've torn everything that I've colored out of them, but this is what they look like. This was her first one, and this was her Halloween one. Let's see, what else? Trying to see what else that I've colored in. Doodlers Anonymous, of course, you saw my Doodlers Anonymous pages. What else do I have that I've colored in? Let me look here on my shelf. Hang on, guys. There's more. I just don't have them all out. The Wandering City. I got this at Barnes & Noble, and it's by Moleskine. The Moleskine people. Moleskine. I call it Moleskine. And here's one of the ones I've done. I did it all in metal, silver, metallic paints, and metallic pens, except for the little red jewels. That's all stickles. So all the little red jewels are all in stickles. So there's that. I think that's the only one I've actually done in this book, and I love this book. But again, Carlos Stanga, The Wandering City. I mean, I've got lots of other books. I just haven't done much in them to show. I'm trying to find the ones that I've actually worked in to show you. So, let me see. This is one of my favorites. Me and Cam got these years ago at the High Museum of Art. And this was before the color book craze. Before it really, hit. Like I said, Dover's been around forever with, clip art and color books. But we got this at the High Museum. It's called Outside the Lines Street Art Doodle Book. And I got us both one. They're $20, which I thought was a lot at the time. But it was probably something kind of sort of self-published. But they're all kinds of street art doodles. And I've colored a little bit in it, and he's colored in his. But it's just such different artists are doing it too. And so you can see. And some have almost like photographs. And this was a fun book because it was before all the color books. This was before I even had a Doodlers Anonymous or any of that. So I bet some of these same artists that are in here are in Doodlers Anonymous. I haven't checked, but so I've done a few coloring pages in here. But I really like because I have a lot of books on graffiti too. Because I like the art of graffiti, so I have a lot of books on graffiti. So having all these different graffiti type things to color is just kind of really cool. So yeah. Outside the Lines Street Art Doodle Book, compiled by Dave the Chimp. It's a pretty thick book, and it's kind of feels kind of, it's not as thin as newsprint, but it has that newsprint feel. All right, let's see what else do I have in the last little bit of time. I bought this one at Books A Million, and I thought, I gotta have that. I just love the Brothers Grimm coloring book. But I've done one page in it. I think I started doing, and it's all the different Brothers Grimm's fairy tales, and I think I've only done Jack and the Beanstalk, and I just started it. But it's got all kinds of Grimm's fairy tale. And it's because I think I liked it because it was little. It's like what is that, about a 6x6 or something? I thought, that's so cute. And all the little fairy tales. I can't wait to color that from front to back. Yeah, right. So I started with the little Jack and the Beanstalk here. I think that's all I've done in this. But there's tons of, 20, 30 different fairy tales in here. And yeah, A Brothers Grimm Coloring Book and Other Classic Fairy Tales, Adam Fisher. And it's just a little book. And let's see, what else have I got something colored in? Like I said, I got a lot, like this Wizard of Oz book. Yes, please. I got this on clearance at Books A Million. I haven't done anything in it, but it was like $3 or something. So the Wizard of Oz, and it's got a lot of words in it. And it was like on clearance, so I said, well, yay, for a couple bucks. And then I've got like the Lord of the Rings, Sherlock, Game of Thrones, and I've only colored minimally in that. Outlander, and of course the Enchanted Forest and all those. this is one of the ones that I got at, again, a clearance book. I think it was even cheaper than this at Barnes & Noble. And I like this because the black backgrounds are already done. Again, they're not quite black. I mean, it's pretty black, but it's not quite as black enough for me to not want to color the backgrounds. But I liked it because this was, I think, the first book that I saw that had black background already colored in for you. And so that's why I like that one. Let's see, a couple more here. This was probably at the time, again, I got this one at Books A Million. This was probably the most expensive book other than that street art one that I got at the museum. This is probably the most expensive color book that I'd ever bought. They were $20. I don't know how much they are now, but these Art Therapy Celtic designs, the Art Therapy line, very high quality. They're good. It's thin paper, but it's a good quality paper. And they're all hardback. And I love Celtic design, and I just love Celtic art in general and all that. So I love this book. Again, I should color more in it. I think I have one page colored in here. But I have tons of Dover art type of Celtic designs and lots of calligraphy books, a lot of calligraphy books that have Celtic art in it. So here's one of the ones that I did here. Not finished. But anyway, this, I thought, I don't know, $20 on a color book. Of course, I probably had a coupon and probably my 10% discount or something else too. But I thought, that's a lot for a color book. But it was just because it was Celtic designs. I didn't buy any of the other Art Therapy ones. But the Celtic designs sold me. And of course, Johanna, Johanna Basford's, her Lost Ocean and all those. But I haven't really colored in those, so let's see here. What else? Sherlock, I've colored a little in Sherlock and a little bit in Game of Thrones, but not too much. Oh, Secret Tokyo and Secret New York. I think this one, I think I call my Paula book. Is this the one that has it in there, or is it the... No, this one Annie got me. I think it's Secret Paris. I don't know where my Secret Paris is, but I colored a little in Secret Paris. Well, anyway, I think I'm just looking at my shelf and I'm thinking I've shown y'all most everything that I've got something colored in. Probably missing some, I'm sure. Let me look right here. Make sure. Well, that's all I can find that I've actually got things colored. I've got more color books that I haven't actually got anything colored in them yet. But anyway, this is the one I'm working in nowadays, is the Zymios Nova book. So I think I've gone through pretty much a big chunk of things. I know as soon as I get done saying goodbye that this is, there's more. But anyway, I just wanted to do a little flip. This is like 2.5 hours worth of flips, so we got a lot covered. And if you have any questions, if there's a certain book that you want to see, ask how I did something. If there's not a video on, there's probably pretty much a video on everything I showed you. At least a good probably 80%. There's a few that are not, but there's a lot. Most everything that I showed you is going to have a video on. So anyway, I'm so sorry chat wouldn't work out for me today. So hopefully this will upload, not be an issue. If not, you can just watch it on Ustream. But hopefully y'all enjoyed a color book tour. And yeah, so thanks everybody for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye. Like, here we go. I just use Deco Art Americana craft paint. It's just craft paint, whatever kind of craft paint, you know, you have. This one I added a bunch of my own touch to. I added the water with paint, again, just craft paint. I put a glow around her, but I wanted something to look like, why is it glowing there? So I drew in my own lanterns and lights and things around here to make it look like she was in like a little forest. A little glow of a forest. Then the next one here, OCAT is the handle for the owner of Doodlers Anonymous, so I put like a tattoo on our fisherman here. He's got on a blue jean jacket. Maybe I just need to leave it here. Blue jean jacket and a fish beard. And he's got the little crab hanging out. I just love Doodlers Anonymous. Again, I put the name of the artist in a little cloud up there, just so, you know, they have prominence. Let's readjust the light again. It gets dark easy. I don't want it to flash out, but I don't want it to be too dark either. That looks kind of good. So I really like that one. And here's just another random chicken in a shoe. But I love doing this one in these bright colors. And yeah. And then this one I added a lot of paint to it. So all the like Converse shoes, and then all the water is just paint. So just have it kind of dripping down the shoes there. And you see a couple laces in there. And yeah. And then this one's a double page spread. And it's, you know, the sea monster, the old man in the sea, or the sea monster. And again, I did little things like add little flap on his head in the rain with the storm with paint, and added extra little, you know, hairs on the monster. So just have fun with it. You know, I always say you're the boss of your color book, so just add stuff to it. Like this one here, all the mountains and the house and all this stuff here. I just added my own little designs in there, and the vest, and the trees. Just added my own little patterns to it, just to give it more interest. And again, there's the artist's name. I put it in a cloud there so that it doesn't get lost. This is one of my favorite pages in the Doodlers Anonymous too. Well, I have said this one's my favorite. I like a lot of them, but I really like the way that I did his satin shirt here with the kind of an ombre effect of the ribbons to make it look like the shine of the ribbons come across here and here and here. And I just love the way, I love this piece that the artist drew, Ashley Cash. And I love the way he's fixing his own little helmet there. That is just awesome. I think I added the antenna, but I just love that one. And then this one we did on a show probably a couple years ago, and it had just the typewriter here. So this is paint in the background, and fibs are friends in the box. Fibs, friends in the box. So all these are stickers, just leftover stickers, making it look like it's coming out of the typewriter on top of the painted background. So I really love the pink typewriter, Underwood. So those are the Doodlers Anonymous that I have done. The next section I have, I think these might be some random ones. This is one off the paint in the background. And yeah, little panda. And then this one I called Hedgies and Holbees because I used the Holbein color pencils on this one and Hedgies. So anyway, and some little white Posca in there. And then I think I either used white Posca or white acrylic paint and put there and just kind of smeared down those little drips on the flowers. So there's that. And this is probably my most recent Bennett Klein one right here. And I wanted all this to look like metal, so I kept it not very much color in it. I almost just pretty much left the color of the wings and just added some gold gel pen onto the animal heads here. And then I did add a shimmer into the wings with some Wink Stella to make it shimmery. But other than that, I wanted to keep it very, like the diamond here, white and gray. Her hair I wanted her to have gray hair, and then all the little hanging jewels and all that. So I really like this. Now the background on this one was already an ombre-like black, gray to white. That was already there. All I did was add the little shooting star on the background there. And then getting into my Doodlers Anonymous. So in the Doodlers Anonymous, I cut the cover off. I eventually want all the pages in the binder or a binder. I don't know if they'll all fit in this one. But, so I just cut the page off here to make it like a divider. Let's got a little flashed out there. Let's kind of get the color there. Might have got my skin's a little dark there, but the color on the color book page is right. And so I cut that out, and I also took off the page, the intro page to the book, and put that in here. So this was my first Doodlers Anonymous page that I did in the book, and I really love this book. One of the reasons I like the Doodlers Anonymous, and I bought it at the bookstore when it came out. I think you can still buy it at their website, but the thing I like about it is there's like 90 different artists. So there's all different artists that contributed to the color book. So it just really makes it different because there's such a variety of artists in it and so many different styles. And so that's one of the things I just love about Doodlers Anonymous. But this was my color book attic page. It might just be better if I just kind of stay down here. And got the little coffee mug. And then I just added my own flow of wind there, like that, with the leaves. And then again, here's another one out of Doodlers Anonymous. This is the astronaut with the cat. And I added my own glow around the edges. And then some of these little checkerboards, I think I added all those myself too. So when you're coloring a book, don't be afraid to, I wrote artist in space in there and did those little checkerboards. Don't be afraid to add your own stuff. And then in a Doodlers Anonymous, every artist has their name on the page. So I made sure to either accent the artist that did it or, make sure that it wasn't covered up. So I wanted the artist that drew the piece to really, their name to be prominent on the piece. So the next one here is a little fox on a bike, and none of the background was here. There was just white background, so I added to make it look like he's either in fog, snow, clouds, whatever. And so that's all paint in the background there. Acrylic paint. When I say paint, I just mean acrylic craft paint. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to record where I left off. I did record 2 parts in the Zymios Nova this morning. This is Saturday morning, impromptu. So I did record 2 parts of this morning, and we were just having all kinds of chat issues. Chat kept getting disconnected, and everybody had to refresh, and all I was seeing is everybody's having chat issues. So I just decided to go ahead and record this without a chat, and so hopefully this will work. So I'm going to show you the different ways that I store my finished saved pages. Some, like in a book like this, it has a complete like fairy tale. I do not tear these out. Or if it's something like Game of Thrones or some kind of color book that has a complete theme to it, where they're not, they're not a standalone piece. But the ones I've taken out here and put in this binder, and then the larger ones, such as my Serene color pages, I cut those out and put them in a big ledger, which I'll show y'all in a minute, because these are way too big to fit in a binder. So anything that's 8.5 by 11 or smaller will fit in a binder. Then I will put them in here. Sip of coffee. I'm losing my throat. This is I've already streamed for 3 or 4 hours this morning. So okay, so these are my Bennett Kleins. This particular Bennett Klein piece here I did record this in multiple and excess detail, and it took about 10 parts. So this is one of those pages that the detail, I really wanted to record every little step and detail in it. So this is one of those that has multiple parts. I try not to have more than 2, sometimes 3 parts in a color book, coloring session, because it's just too many, and then that gets spread out because it's not the only thing I do. We do our collage, our mixed media, our art cards, and other things too. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice here. So that's the first section here are my Bennett Klein ones. So I will probably need to prop this side up just so the glare is not there. And still there. Okay, let's find something bigger to prop up here. And I'll take the ones out of the binder that have, like, for instance, this one has a lot of stickles and glitter on it, and so you can't really see that when they're in the binder. So this is another Bennett Klein. And what I do in most of my color book pages is I do my own backgrounds. So I'll paint in clouds and stars and splatters and whatnot, and to add it to make it your own, because I know it's a lot of work on these pages, and you want to feel like you've put your mark on them. And so doing things like that makes them special to you. And yeah, so again, I'll write on the back, like this has Bennett Klein's 3, sketchbook 3, and that way I can keep track. Because he's got tons of books. And here's another example of making it your own. These little faces here had like happy faces. I know y'all know the little dots and the big smile. Well, we did this one around Halloween last year, and so I used purple and green and orange, and so I turned them into little pumpkin heads, and just to make them a little bit more like to go with Halloween. So yeah. And then did her orange eyes. And then this one has another one that has a lot of glitter on it. I think you can kind of see through the sleeve there where there's lots of glitter. And I added my own water, my own little glitter rain. And then this one, I really, really like the way this one turned out here. Let me take it out and try to explain some of the little techniques that I used on these. So again, this one's got a lot of glitter. I use stickles, mostly stickles, where you see glitter on my pages. And I painted the background black. It wasn't already black. I painted it black, and with painting your backgrounds with acrylic paint, you can add things like this little smoky effect and glows around things, because you're doing pencil on top of paint, and therefore you can do stuff like this. You can't do that on top of, like, if this was colored black pencil, that would not work, as I explained in the video before this one. So yeah, I really like the way she turned out. All that's just with pencil on top of black acrylic paint. And then here's the bear. Again, this was all blank on the page. It was like made for you to just kind of do whatever. So I put him like in a fog, in a big fog bank, if you will. And so yeah, and again, they're mounted on black cardstock with all the information on the back. And this one did take 3 or 4 videos to record this whole process. She did take quite our vampire, she did take quite a while to do. And because of all the, you know, multiple colors and shading in the back. But I really did like the way her eyes turned out. And then this one, this is another one that has the black painted background. The back painted background where I could add my own stars and planets and shimmery bits and glow and fog and mist and all that. And all this is put on top of black paint. So all the background's painted black, and then all this is added on top with paint and pencil. And then like the smoke coming out of the dragon's nose there, all that. That's pencil on top of, and paint on top of black acrylic paint. So I really like the way she turned out too. This one, if I'm sure I mentioned it many times, but Bennett Klein's pages you can buy in a book, or you can buy the PDF and download them and print them yourself. Well, this one I printed out on cardstock, craft cardstock, and only use black and white. So all the brown that you see in there is the paper itself. And then again, this is all color pencil here. And I think I used a little Posca paint pen right in here on these line details here. But this is just all black and white pencil. So just to show that you can just do, you know, kind of a monochromatic type look. And this one, I used just 2 shades of purple and 2 shades of teal to do all that with a little bit of white accent in there. But that's all just a couple of colors there. Again, these are all Bennett Klein. Then the panda. I really wanted these flowers to stand out, so what I did was outline them in a Posca. Let's see here. The Posca paint pen, and I'll use this or the Sharpie water-based paint pen, either one. This one's acrylic paint. I'm not sure what the water-based paint is in here, but I can get the same, pretty much the same effect on a color book page with either one. So I outlined all these flowers just to make them kind of really stand out from everything in the background, because of the sketchy group. And the sketchy group, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, had a challenge. They posted, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 different color book pages, and everybody could pick one in color. And this is the one that I picked to color off of that group page. This one is out of, I can't remember that. It's on the back. Let me see here. It is out of the Vintage Women and Flowers by Kyoto Sakura. And so that's a page out of her book. And did her with dark skin. I like doing different colors of skin tone, you know, just to have every kind of skin color. And so I did her dark, and I love the blue sheen to her hair. Really turned out nice. So I really liked her. This one is a mixed media. This, I believe, was out of just one of those pages. Let's see if I have it on the back here. It's out of one of those color books that are, I think it's just all mixed, all kinds of pages. It's just like a Color Your World kind of color book. And so this, I'm thinking that this tree was out of that. But I have a couple in here, this one and the one on the back, that shows that you can take your color book page, add paint and collage, and all kinds. And in the background, I added all my own stars and shooting stars and everything like that, and put the glow in the tree there. So the tree is the only actual thing that came on the page. And and I left the branches uncolored. And then on this one, the same kind of thing. There was just some trees here. Whatever else was there, I painted out and painted in my own emu. This is a collage bit down here. So I left these in here to show that, you know, because I do a lot of collage. Y'all know I've got tons of mixed media collage, art journals, and altered books and all that. But I wanted to show that you can use your color book pages in the same kind of way as you could altering a page, just by adding your own collage, your own drawings, your own whatever you want to add to it. So that's just kind of a random one in here. Then let's see what we have next. Okay, some of these are out of the Creative Haven. Got a couple out of the Creative Haven kimono. This one, and I added another mixed media collage one in between. So this is out of the kimono. What I did with this is I cut her out and mounted her on paper. And these are all hand-drawn little doodles on there. But you can also use your color book images to cut them out and use them like we do in the napkin journal. So we'll have some things colored in a color book, cut them out, and use them in as elements in other journals. So this is out of the Creative Haven kimono, as is this page right here. They're out of the same book, but I cut them out and then put them on this. So in that vein of the Asian kimono girl, this is a girl that was in a fashion magazine, and I just put collage elements on. I kind of cut her out and colored her outfit, put some watch parts on her, and then all these, the only thing that was color book on this was the cherry blossoms. Then I painted out the background black, colored in the cherry blossoms. I think I did a mixture of watercolor and a pencil, and then all watch parts inside for the centers of all the flowers have watch parts in them, and then just put her in there and made my own kind of mixed media collage piece. I need a sip of coffee because I'm losing my voice.